At our last meeting, prior meeting in Philadelphia, representatives from the NIH, the NSF, DARPA, they joined us for a discussion about ethical issues that their agencies encounter in neuroscience research. Today, in this session, we're going to talk about and hear from some private sector partners also engaged in the BRAIN initiative. We invited representatives from the Salk Institute of Biological Studies, the Allen Institute for Brain Science, and the Kavli Foundation, and Howard Hughes Medical Institute. We're pleased that all but one of those could join us. The format of this session is a little bit different from other sessions that we have run, and that's because we have seeded a question to our panelists, that question being, how does your institute currently address ethical issues related to neuroscience research? Following remarks from each of our panelists, I'm sure we'll have plenty of time for discussion with our speakers and about the ethical issues that they face and how they're dealing with those. Our first speaker is Dr. Terrence Sejnowski, who's here on behalf of the Salk Institute for Biological Studies. He serves as the Francis Crick Chair, Professor and Laboratory Head of the Computational Neurobiology Lab. Dr. Sejnowski is also Howard Hughes Medical Institute Investigator and a Distinguished Professor in the section of Neurobiology and Neurosciences at the University of California, San Diego, where he is also co-director of the Institute for Neural Computation and co-director of the National Science Foundation Temporal Dynamics of Learning Center. He's a member of the IOM, Institute of Medicine, and the National Academy of Sciences, and the National Academy of Engineering. That triple distinction is very rare. He's a fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, the American Association for the Advancement of Science, the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, and the Cognitive Science Society. We are really delighted to have you here. Dr. Sejnowski, please. Just hit your button there on the panel.
Well, thank you for giving me this opportunity. How much time do I have left? Okay, I see it's going. Okay. Yes, first of all, just as a preface, I served on the working group of the advisory committee to the director of NIH, and just yesterday the NIH announced the request for proposals based on our recommendations. And one of the core principles in our interim report was the importance of integrating ethical considerations, and I'm really pleased that the commission here is taking this up. I want to focus on a particular topic that is of great importance right now at the Salk Institute. We're having a faculty discussion on this, and as you'll see, we're having a symposium tomorrow that's going to focus on this, so this is particularly timely. And this has to do with the use of genetic models in neuroscience research. We can now manipulate the genes with using recombinant DNA techniques and transgenic approaches. And this has been extremely important, not just in neuroscience, but in all of biology, to be able to understand pathways, cancer, and now we're going to be able to selectively manipulate specific neurons in the brain. And brain is very heterogeneous, and so just throwing a drug at it often isn't as effective as being able to selectively target specific types of neurons that we know may be going awry. Now, we've done that in a number of animals and flies at the Genelia Farm, Howard Hughes. Focus there is on flies, zebrafish, and at the Allen, you'll be hearing about mice. Now, these are been very useful, but there are some behaviors that humans have that we aren't represented in these other species, and in particular, higher cognitive functions. And for that reason, the Salk has made a major investment in non-human primates, and specifically the macaque, because its visual system is very, very similar to that of ours. Primates in general, but humans in particular, are very visual animals. Half our cortex is devoted to vision. And that's something that we've been studying now for over 60 years, and we know a lot about the visual system. But it's true that there are other parts of the brain that are equally important, the prefrontal cortex, planning, There are many, many other areas that we need to explore. Now, we do not have right now a non-human primate model that is genetically amenable. That is to say, it's impractical, they live for too long, and it takes too long to be able to have a generation produced. But this is changing. There are species of monkeys, like marmosets and dwarf lemurs, that are small, they have very fast gestation time, and there are new molecular techniques for recombination, such as talons and CRISPRs, that allow us to be much more efficient in being able to insert genes in specific parts of the genome. What this means is that all of the tools and technology that have come online that have helped us for the mouse are going to become available over the next few years, next 10 years for the Brain Initiative. And this is going to raise a number of issues that I think this commission really ought to take a closer look at. The symposium that is being sponsored by the Crick Center for Theoretical and Computational Biology that I direct will bring together world leaders in this area who are already undergoing the research in Tokyo, in Shanghai, in Boston, and at the Salk Institute. We'll be meeting to discuss these issues, including ethical issues. This is really a good time for us to consider, what the implications are, because we're talking about our cousins, not a mouse that we perhaps don't identify with. But when we come close to humans who have a lot of our capabilities, this is something that I think needs to be addressed. Now, finally, there's one other issue, and I want to bring this up, and this is really, really important. It has to do with the fact that we need to get, as researchers, when we're doing this research where we're on the cutting edge and we really don't know where it's going to take us, we need to have the backing of our institutions. I have friends at universities who have not been backed by their universities and institutions when animal rights activists have attacked them. In fact, I have a friend at UCLA who basically had to shut down his research as a consequence because his family was threatened. And I think it's incredibly important that we really, as we start into the research on genetically manipulating non-human primates, that we do this with utmost ethical standards, and that not only is commission, but I think the president has to back this and explain to the public why this is important for understanding our brain and for being able to help it when it breaks down. And I think that this is the right time to start thinking about this. Thank you.
Thank you.